Hello my friends, we have one more confirmation video published by the first Azov Corps where they state that Russia started a massive attack, mechanized attack with lots of the tanks. There were two of the big convoys. It happened in Dobrapilya direction of the eastern part of Ukraine. Well, they mostly speak here. So towards Shahove and the direction of Dobrapilya. So initially Russia sent many of the drones. Russia also backed up everything with Tornado S systems, and there are some of the new systems which were used. So you may see the rocket artillery, which is hit by Ukrainian drones. And here they show the convoy. Well, still I would like to see unedited video, or as low edited as possible, for it to be kind of long, for us to judge really the scale of the Russian attack, because it's understandable that those were many of the Russian tanks and many of the Russian BMPs and motorcycles, but the full video is always better. Here they cut it with some of the narrator. So yeah, some of the explanation of this Russian attack and how Ukraine repelled everything of that. Russia lost 7 of the Russian tanks, 6 BMPs, 2 of the rocket artillery systems, special vehicles 3, and the light vehicles, those are all-terrain vehicles or UAZ, Bukhanka vans, 47, and also Ukraine shut down lots of the drones. Well, for the better picture, I follow some of the OSINTs, like for example Clement Molin on Twitter, and he shows the direction of the Russian attack. So 90th Tank Division of the 41st Army and 8th Army, separate attack convoys, but the direction was the same, Shahove. And next they wanted to proceed maybe to Drushkivka, maybe towards Dobrapilya. Well, different sources say different information, but 80% of the Russian vehicles were lost on the way to reach even Shahove, and 20% the rest were demolished later on. So for the first time in months, Russia launched a large mechanized assault in the Dobrapilya-Drushkivka area. 2 armor columns reinforced by multiple unarmored vehicles from 90th Tank Division and the 41st plus 8th Army attempted to break through to Shahove. Everything went not according to plan. First Azov Corps was waiting for them. Azov and not only managed to prevent any armored breakthrough, showing multiple destroyed vehicles and pontoon bridges. However, infiltrations are slowly getting more frequent and Russian soldiers are often recorded behind the current gray zone. And here's the possible answer why did Russia launched a mechanized assault here. The main reason is how difficult it is to get there. We've seen videos of an impressive number of logistical and assault and armored vehicles destroyed on the road leading to the place. This area is one of the deadliest, with older Ukrainian fortifications complicating any movement. Launching mechanized assault helps to bring hundreds of men close to the front. Even if half of them kaput, half manage to reach those positions. All of them will be able to assault and infiltrate further to the villages. And Clement expected, I was expecting a large-scale assault here in order to unblock the front leading to Drushkivka and Dobrapilya. As Russian soldiers are infiltrating, consolidating into Konstantinivka, they will slowly manage to take full control over the city. Now the priority for them is to prepare for assaults towards Dobrapilya and Drushkivka. But again, we see that Russia failed with its mission, and moreover they lost. This is not Tornado S, this is Sarma, a first rocket artillery system of this type that Russia lost in this war. So the caliber is, I think, 250 millimeters, something like that. So it's very long range, very powerful, but it was kaputted by Ukrainian drone with an automatic guidance system, as you might see. So Russians are not only using their tanks or armored vehicles, they also used artillery to clear the place for attack and also drones. But it didn't help. Oh no, I'm sorry, it's 300 millimeter. I saw that it's big, but yeah, 300 millimeter caliber of this rocket artillery, that's huge. I wonder about the range. Russians say it's the brand new system that was demonstrated at first last year, 2025. And just a short reminder, please don't forget to press a like to this video just right now and also subscribe for the channel. It is very important to propel videos and my entire content in algorithms, and we are on the way to reach 1 million subscribers, hopefully this year, but we'll see. And also, if you can, you may support my job on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below, or join membership of YouTube channel by pressing button join. Guys, you're amazing, you're awesome, Thank you so much, and let's continue with the video. Meanwhile, you might see the Russian wildberries in Yekaterinburg. There is the fire at the parking spot, so only one drone managed to get that far away, more than 1,500 kilometers as far as I remember, to reach Yekaterinburg. And what is interesting, that evacuation was announced after the strike. So Russian military did not provide the warning for locals. Maybe they didn't know that the drone is coming. Only a single drone made it, and it went very close to the storage or warehouse itself. It went to the parking spot, and several of the cars went on fire. Here we have the footage of the evacuation of the personnel, and the parking stand, well, it's on fire, yes. So it didn't play out like it was in St. Petersburg, where lots of the drones hit the same facility one after another in a short time period. Here it was just a lonely drone that paralyzed the job of the facility for some time. But Ukraine can reach it already, even in Yekaterinburg, so it's just a matter of time, then it goes full kaboom. Yeah, from those images I see that the drone didn't make it like 50 meters maximum to reach the wall of this warehouse. And those are the wildberries employees in the local forest, so wildberries in the forest, okay. Some even put the improvised anti-sun protection from those leaves. Yeah, from one side, of course, it's funny, but from the other hand, like Russians, a freaking drone is flying across the half of the country, and you didn't announce a drone alert to evacuate your personnel. Like, what? Do they really have to wait for the strike? Especially, you know that wildberries is the #1 priority target. And it's not a ballistic missile, it's the low-speed flying object, drone. Flies and flies and flies for hours. So of course it was spotted somewhere. But Russians did not announce this air sirens alert or whatsoever to evacuate personnel. So they had to wait and panically run from the warehouse. But at the same time, Ukraine was quite successful reaching Tyumen refinery, and it's around 1,900 kilometers away from the border with Ukraine. There were at least 2 of the drone strikes reported to this facility, and it halted its operation, so refinery is no-go. Well, at least for some time we know that Russia is working to repair their refineries, but it's kind of slow procedure. Plus Ukraine might visit those refineries again and again. And this is Tyumen refinery from the closer perspective. Yeah, definitely it was damaged. It's not that big as, for example, Saratov refinery or Omsk, but still it is very important for this region, for Surgut and Tyumen. By the way, I was in Tyumen myself, back in 2009. And that's the Ukrainian response on Russian strikes, for example, on Nova Post. This is a Zaporizhia terminal that was hit just recently, so you see how the war escalates to civilian infrastructure full scale, and now it's not just from the Russian side, and Ukraine with its strikes on wildberries solves several of the, I would say, even strategic issues. Meanwhile, Wall Street Journal says that the Trump administration warned Ukraine that it considers strikes on tankers in the Black Sea that do not belong to Russia to be unacceptable. So for Russia it's okay to strike tankers and cargo vessels that belong to the third countries, but those ships operate or operated from the Ukrainian port, so for Russia it's okay, yeah? But for Ukraine it's not okay. So those are the shadow fleet vessels, tankers. They are actually transporting Russian oil, they work for Russia full scale, and the country of registration here doesn't play the great role. It is all down to bypass sanctions and to whitewash Russian oil. What they say in the article, that the warning came after a strike on a tanker chartered by American oil giant Chevron in the Black Sea near Novorossiysk. So American companies trade Russian oil, yeah? Novorossiysk is also terminal point of the Caspian Pipeline Consortium, CPC, 15% of which is owned by Chevron. Approximately 2% of the world's oil production is transported through this pipeline. Well, nothing personal, right? Business as usual. The only thing that the United States of America doesn't have the leverage on Ukraine that massive as under previous administration. Well, Trump's administration, of course, may ask Ukraine not to strike Chevron tankers or tankers who operate with the dirty Russian money, but being on the Ukrainian side, I wouldn't agree with that, because those kinetic sanctions, they work. It is already visible. It is proven. especially right now that Russia halted all of the operations in Ukrainian ports. Ukraine has the right to fight back with the same means. And once again, you see Laura Loomer, some of the MAGA influencers on the paper, on those posts, they support Ukraine, but the real actions, they're a little bit different. Behind the curtains, they ask Ukraine not to strike, not to escalate, so the same old story. By the way, the last year, United States of America had asked Ukraine not to strike Novorossiysk oil port any longer because of that pipeline, 2% of the oil trade. But Ukraine continued the strike. Not that massively, I would say, as before, but oil storages were burning there, also port infrastructure to refuel tankers. So Ukraine already said no, and I think it will say it once again. Yeah, this image was published just today. One of the bulkers, so cargo ships, was damaged by Russian drone. And you see it's already drowning. It's not a Ukrainian vessel. It belongs to some other country, and Russia hunts it. By the way, Turkish registered ships were hit both by Ukrainians and Russians because they operate in Ukrainian and Russian ports. Plus, Russia also hit several of the tugboats in Mechanized port. Well, Ukraine cannot openly operate in Mechanized because it needs to establish the control over the Kimbersky Spit at first, but still some of the ships are there and they've been hit by Russian drones. But it seems like for Trump's administration, everything of that is fine. They just say it to Ukraine. You need to stop. Yeah, Ukraine, stop. I already heard that story. Alright, there was the meeting between Kazakhstan and Russian officials at the top level. Presidents of the countries met. And Putin, he was really uncomfortable here because President Tokayev mentioned that he doesn't understand the cause of the war in Ukraine. And he says that it's not profitable for Ukraine, it's not profitable for Russia. And he called Putin openly in front of the cameras to stop the war, to freeze it. So he called to freeze the war and return to Istanbul formula, but Istanbul formula actually was not agreed. And according to that, Ukraine basically capitulates from vast parts of its territories. Putin doesn't look great because, you know, foreign leader tells him to stop the war and he wants to continue this war. Yeah, he looks really miserable, especially when Tokayev says that he doesn't understand like what this is for. So Putin can shut up his own media, but this is the foreign platform with foreign journalists and foreign president. So sometimes the comments about the war, they're being said out loud by someone else, not by Russians even. Well, there are some of the signs, and it was told by Zelensky that, according to Ukrainian information, the part of the elite in the Russian Federation, it is not okay with Putin's ruling. So they communicate also with Western partners, they communicate with Ukraine. Plus Tokayev also mentioned that he received the calls from European partners, from American partners, and he said out loud that this war should be stopped, it's not profitable. As well as the Russian elite says absolutely the same. And Putin here, I would even call it an enemy of his own system which he built. Because for those officials, for those oligarchs, it is not profitable to be an ally of Putin any longer. Because they're losing their businesses, they cannot go to European countries, and Putin wants to take money from them, from their business, to fuel the war against Ukraine. So for everyone, I guess Putin becomes this figure that should be gone someday, but they're so silly, they're so afraid that they cannot replace Putin right now, by force or by somehow. And my personal forecast that while Putin has his power, the war will continue, unfortunately. Well, there could be some of the ceasefires, not long, temporary lines. It is like the variant for Russia to announce temporary ceasefire, and for Ukraine it will give the time to regroup, rearm, and Russia will still attack once again if regime stays the same. And after some time, Kremlin spokesman commented Tokayev's remark about the freezing of the war. He again said about the reaching of the goals of the special military operation that if Ukraine agrees on that, there will be a ceasefire. So Putin didn't have guts to respond right away, and Kremlin just post-scriptum comments the nonsense they usually say. Yeah, we have more Instagram or TikTok images from St. Petersburg. Russians film lots of those videos. their silent reaction on what is happening. Yeah, just volcano eruption, nothing unusual. The other guy also drinks coffee in the morning, so it's some sort of the trend there. Plus, we have the information from the Ukrainian SBU that Ukraine hit some of the infrastructure and objects in the Caspian Sea. SBU drones hit the Filanovsky oil platform, the sanctioned cargo ships Port Ola 2, and the Project 12418 ammonia missile boat. So the ships which are operating to deliver some of the weapons to Iran via Caspian Sea, they were hit as well. And Iran officials, they didn't like it, and they already threatened Ukraine with ballistic missile strike. Okay. So another bad day for so-called Russian Caspian Sea fleet. Ukraine has struck Project 12418 ammonia missile boat. Well, I'm still waiting for the confirmation whether the ship was kaboomed. I need evidence like the footage, but Ukrainian SBU officials has already reported about the loss for the Russian Navy. Yeah, gentle reminder to Mr. Zelensky, all of Ukraine is within reach of Iran's ballistic missiles, including super heavy Khorramshahr 4, although it would be a waste of good missiles. So, like the warning, but not the warning. So, yeah, basically, Iran retaliates against neighboring countries and American bases. That's what they do. Iran's foreign ministry says Ukraine attacked an Iranian commercial ship in the Caspian Sea, unaliving the sailor and injuring other. It condemned the attack as a violation of the international law and the act of a... come on. Well guys, that's all what I wanted to say for today, and stand by for more videos. Please, if you can, support my job on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below, or join membership of YouTube channel by pressing button join, if you watch me on YouTube, of course. My friends, thank you so much for making this content possible. Also, please don't forget to press your huge like to this video, subscribe for the channel. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.